It's a bonus. I always say bonus every time I do one of these. Sunday night, August 3rd, just got back from seeing Superman at our local small time theater. Didn't love it, enjoyed it. I talked to our sons afterwards, and they kind of explained a few things that I guess raised my level of liking it somewhat. But that's not why I'm here. You don't tune in for movie reviews, you turn in for micro budget filmmaking. And I just wanted to give a quick report so I didn't forget whenever I do the next one. I went to one of the locations today, what may be a location. It's actually just a road that has to have a very sharp turn in it. This road has like a 90-degree turn for a scene, which you will understand once you see the movie. And so I went up there, and I think it will work. I don't know how we're going to do traffic control. It is a very rural road, and I don't know that we will have an issue. There's always, when you do this, because there's this and then there's a park, a couple parks that we're going to shoot in. And on the one hand, if you don't tell anyone anything, you move over a little bit, then, you know, you don't, if you don't tell them anything, then they can't say, no, you can't do it. It's one of those, ask for permission or beg for forgiveness. So I think my plan is not to tell anyone what we're going to do. I mean, it's a public street, it's a public park. So I don't know what they would really say about it. And then I had to send a message to the gentleman I talked with about possibly doing lighting and explain that we had a few cost overruns. We're bringing in the one actor. Some of the equipment is not being as inexpensive as I thought. Plus, there's going to be some insurance on this equipment that I'm borrowing that I keep forgetting I have to pay. I might get the upgrade for the DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is $300, and whatever. So did that. That's never fun. I heard from one of the actresses that was at the table read, but I hadn't heard from her much since. She said, yes, she's still interested. She has no conflicts that she knows of. Then there's a very, very small part in one of the people who is already involved in the movie from a crew perspective said that she would be happy to play that. She's done some acting. And so on the downside. So Reese and Brett and I went through the rest of the script. I think we started on page, 80 maybe. It only took us about an hour and 10 minutes, and we went through till the end, which is now page 94, I think. So when we started this, it was, it was 108, and then I went through it, and it was then 101, and so now it's 94. And most of the cuts came early on. I think in the first 50 pages, 52 pages, we saved like 5 pages, and then the rest of it we eliminated some. So we had, I wouldn't say some heated arguments today, but we had some spirited discussion about some of the scenes, some of the dialogue. And, from the writer standpoint, you love to hear what you wrote. And they always have that thing of you always have to cut your favorite line of dialogue, which I don't know if we did or not. We have refined sort of Bubsy as a character and therefore as his speech patterns and how much he says. He had a lot of big mouthfuls, and so we've cut down on that. We trimmed some scenes, and back to the point of the actress, we may or may have not trimmed her scene. The scene is still there, but she no longer appears per se, so I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. I'm just thinking of something. There is a picture of her, and that might be awkward if I had to ask the actress for a picture of her, but not actually use her in the film. So we still could have a shot of her. Overall, though, they're pretty excited about it, or maybe even really excited, hopefully, and it's definitely strong. I have not obviously read through the whole thing since the last batch of changes. I told the cast that I would send out, I wouldn't say finished copy, but a pretty darn close copy after I go through it and make sure there's none of the changes we made later on would have any like logic changes or whatever. And I think they, rightly so, are much more inclined to leave it to the actors and actresses to convey the looks, convey the stories, which is something that, I think everyone knows, but it's harder to put into practice. And we have a few things that are like bolded that we'll make maybe game day decisions on in terms of how do we present this? Do we need this dialogue? Is this too on the nose, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to do that. Need to shore up the crew. I need to get this follow focus thing is sort of a calamity, unfortunately. Still got to figure out that. It's not a big ticket item. It's just sort of an annoyance. I think the main big ticket items that remain, and they're not huge. I did buy a CFast memory card, which is like $400 for 512 gigs. Very expensive compared to an SD card, probably literally 10 times more expensive. And the reason for that is it's much more reliable, much more heavy duty, et cetera, et cetera. And then you could also use an SSD drive, which, I've got one that I could use. And I still might use it for some of the scenes that are very locked down and static, because you have to plug in a cable to that, and then you have to plug it into the camera, and it doesn't look good. And I don't know that the write speed is fast enough on that. So that was an expense. I got a couple batteries because these ones that I got with the camera, other than the original Blackmagic, are pretty much worthless. But so getting back to my point, there are two lenses. There's a 11-16 that I think I'm going to get because there's some pretty inexpensive ones on eBay. And then there is a Sigma 56 millimeter fixed lens, which is kind of the one length we're missing. I think I've talked about this all before. So between those two, that would be like 600, a little more than that. So my total is getting pretty close to what I think I said the very maximum I wanted to spend on camera and related equipment was $5,000. And while I haven't reached that, I'm getting closer than I thought. There was a point where I thought, hey, $3,500, I'm all set. But, you can always buy more stuff, obviously. So that's, that 5,000 is the hard limit, and hopefully I'll come in a little under that. But I don't know for sure. So there we go. That is a pretty healthy update, which means probably I won't have any updates. I don't know if I'll have any coming this week or not. So you 6 people, maybe 7, maybe 4 that are watching, leave me some comments. Tell me what else you want to know about micro budget filmmaking. I did record today's session on the Zoom call with the script here and then us talking. And I'm certainly not going to release those until after the film comes out. But those, I think people would find those really interesting, of going through the script and really talking it through, and do we need this and how would this work and blah, blah, blah. So I think those will be useful resources for people who want to know more, not just about filmmaking, but about the whole process down the road. So stay tuned for that, but that's going to be a ways down the road. Until then, you know the drill. Go make a movie. Tell me how you did it, and we can all learn together. Good night.